Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's episode of Morte. Tonight, Sir Tristram lies sick and injured in a dungeon. And let's just see what happens as the rest of Britain goes on whirling above his head. Hello, Taz. Good afternoon. Well, good evening. Hello, and hello, Mark. Hello, Danny. Welcome. Hello, Sonia. Come in. You're very, very welcome. Good to see you guys. Welcome. I am in a good mood this evening, as you might see. Hello, Andrew and Jane. Come in. Welcome. Pull up a chair. It's good to see you again. I have just finished almost the last of my Christmas shopping now. It's almost done. I didn't leave it until last minute. I almost left it until last minute this year, like usual, but no, this time everything is sorted, so I'm in a very good mood this evening. Excellent, Andrew. I'm glad you sat down comfortably, hopefully with some nice breakfast. Well, Taz, it's not too late. Take it from someone who leaves it until the last possible moment, year after year after year. You haven't left it until too late. There is still time for you to go and do it. Even sometimes on the 24th of December, when you might think that there's not a lot of time left, there's still time to do it. So we're miles out now. We're way away from Christmas. It's over a week away. You're fine. But maybe get a bit of a move on, Taz. A little bit of a move on. Because time waits for no one and all that good stuff. And Christmas is that most magical, wonderful, stressful time of the year. And so best. Maybe a few things. Anyway, hello everyone. Good evening. We'll give it another minute before we get started, and then we will plunge into tonight's episode of Morte and see just what happens once that good old Sir Tristram is in jail. That is an excellent idea, Andrew. I like that plan. Convincing everyone around me not to do Christmas would be difficult, though, unfortunately. Everyone around me is totally for it, so I will participate. It's fine. I bought myself a present already, so that's made me a little bit happier. My Christmas present to myself is... You guys will like this. I should have really waited until the poetry show to show this off. I'm very excited. I got myself Greek epic fragments. Very, very excited to have this book. For all those of you who've read the Iliad and been disappointed because it has no wooden horse in it, that's because the story of the wooden horse is contained within the Trojan cycle. And the Trojan cycle has been lost and only exists now in fragments that we've recovered. And so I've at last managed to track down an edition which has the Trojan cycle inside of it. So I am on my nice list. I am at the top of my nice list, Danny. Just one of those things. And yes, some people have questioned, should Simon be at the top of his own nice list? Well, I double checked. And then I went over to the chap in the bathroom mirror and I asked the chap in the bathroom mirror if he could have a look at the naughty and nice list, just to make sure we had 3 people looking at it. And he said I was right as well. So as long as we're sorted there, all is well in the world. So, there we go. I checking it twice. Tristram is coming to town. Tristram and his horsey are coming to town. Anyway, there we go. Let's get into tonight's episode of Morte. Ladies and gents, last night's episode we saw that following the great tournament to which Sir Tristram had attended, and that was presided over by no other man than King Arthur of Britain himself, Sir Tristram found himself locked in combat against the great knight Sir Lancelot, and when Lancelot dealt him a bloody blow by accident, then did Tristram leave the field of battle in quite a sulk, it must be said, not enjoying the fact that he had been injured and couldn't show off as the greatest knight who'd ever lived. Fleeing from that field of battle, then he was followed by the knight who hates him most in all of the world, Sir Palomides, who Tristram once faced off in combat for, fighting to decide which of the two of them would be allowed to woo the Lady Isolde of Ireland. Well, Tristram beat Palomides fair and square on the day, and Palomides has never forgiven him, and indeed Palomides has thought that perhaps that in his weakened state he might finally be able to slay Sir Tristram, and so he followed afterwards. But his following was all for naught, it seems. For Sir Tristram met with a knight called Sir Lucan. Sir Lucan had been sent forth from the tournament of King Arthur to look after and to look for Sir Tristram. For Arthur was most disappointed when Sir Tristram left the field of the tournament. Indeed, Arthur blamed it upon Sir Lancelot and his blow that caused Sir Tristram to bleed. And so Arthur, demanding to know that Tristram is all right and wanting Tristram to return to Arthur so that Arthur could thank him for his bravery upon the field of battle. Thus he sent many knights, including Sir Lucan, and Sir Lucan brought Tristram to the house of Sir Darras, there to meet with the rest of Sir Lucan's friends. But Sir Darras discovered that it was at Sir Tristram's hand that 3 of his sons died at the tournament. For though Tristram did not mean to slay them, tournaments in those days were frightfully dangerous things. And so Sir Darras has thrown Sir Tristram, Sir Lucan, and that man who hates Tristram so vilely, Sir Palomides, into prison. And we leave them then for a little while and turn to another man. Perhaps the only man in all the world who might hate Tristram more than Palomides, for though Tristram defeated Palomides in order to woo Lady Isolde of Ireland, Tristram's love for Isolde continued until well after she had married King Mark of Cornwall, and then was Tristram caught abed, not once but twice, in the arms of Queen Isolde of Cornwall. And so her husband, King Mark, who has been cuckolded most royally by Tristram, does burn for his blood. And it's to King Mark that we turn in tonight's episode. Ladies and gents, let's go get some lunch. Hello, Karen. Welcome. It's good to see you. And hello, Darby, as well. Come in. Hi. Tonight we turn to King Mark. Let's get into the show. Now, will we speak and leave Sir Tristram, Sir Palomides, and Sir Dinadan in prison? And we shall speak of other knights who sought after Sir Tristram across many parts of this land. Some of those knights rode into Cornwall, and by adventure Sir Gaheris, who was nephew unto King Arthur, came to King Mark, and there he was well received in that court, and he sat at King Mark's own table and ate of his own mess. Then King Mark asked Sir Gaheris what tidings there were in the realm of Logris, Sir, said Sir Gaheris, the king reigneth as a noble knight, and now but late there was a great jousts and tournament as ever I saw in the realm of Logris, and the most noble knights were at that jousts. But there was one knight who performed marvellously for 3 days, and he bore a black shield. And of all knights that ever I saw, he proved to be the best knight. Then said King Mark, that knight should have been Sir Lancelot or Sir Palomides. Not so, said Sir Gaheris, for both Sir Lancelot and Sir Palomides were on the contrary party and fought against the knight with the black shield. Then was it Sir Tristram? Said the king. Yeah, said Sir Gaheris. And therewith the king smote down his head, and in his heart he feared sore that Sir Tristram should get such worship in the realm of Logris that he himself should not be able to withstand him. And thus Sir Gaheris had great cheer with King Mark and with Queen Isolde of Cornwall, who was glad of Sir Gaheris' words, for she knew well by his deeds and manners that the knight had been Sir Tristram all along. And then the king made a feast royal, and to that feast came Sir Owain le Fay de Royal Reign, and some called him Owain le Blanchemain. And this Sir Owain challenged all the knights of Cornwall to fight. Then was the king well angry that he had no knight who would answer this call. And Sir Andred, nephew to King Mark, leapt up and said, I will encounter against Sir Owain. Then he went and armed himself and horsed himself in the very best manner. And there Sir Owain met with Sir Andred and smote him down that he swooned to the earth. Then was King Mark sorry and angry out of measure that he had no knight to revenge his nephew Sir Andred. So the king called unto him Sir Dinas the Seneschal, and prayed him for his sake to take upon him to joust with Sir Owain. Sir, said Sir Dinas, I am full loath to have ado with any knight of the Round Table. Yet, said the king, for my love take upon thee to joust. So Sir Dinas made himself ready, and anon they encountered together with great spears. But Sir Dinas was overthrown horse and man, and had a great fall. Who was angry then but King Mark? Alas, he said, have I no knight that will encounter with yonder knight? Sir, said Sir Gaheris, for your sake I will joust. And so Sir Gaheris made himself ready, and when he was armed he rode into the field. And when Sir Owain saw Sir Gaheris' shield, he rode to him and said, Sir, do not take part in this fight. For, sir, the first time you were made Knight of the Round Table, you swore that you would have no fight with your fellowship wittingly. Pardon, Sir Gaheris. You know me well enough by my shield, and so do I know you by yours. And though we would break your oath, I would not break mine. For there is not one here that shall think that I am afraid of you. But I durst right well not have ado with you, and yet we are sisters' sons. Then was Sir Gaheris ashamed, and therewith every knight went their way, and Sir Owain rode into the country. Then King Mark armed himself, and took his horse and his spear with a squire with him, and he rode before Sir Owain, and suddenly at a gap he ran upon him as he was that was not ware of him, and there he smote him almost through the body, and there left him. So within a while there came Sir Kay, who found Sir Owain and asked him how he was hurt. I know not, said Sir Owain, of why or wherefore, but by treason I am sure I got this hurt, for there came a knight suddenly from behind, and before I was aware he'd hurt me. Then there was come Sir Andred to seek King Mark. You traitor knight, said Sir Kay, and I know it was you that thus traitorly hurt this noble knight. You should not pass my hands, he said. Sir, said Andred, I did never hurt him, and that I will report for myself. Fie on you, false knight, said Sir Kay, for you of Cornwall are worth nothing. So Sir Kay made carry Sir Owain to the Abbey of the Black Cross, and there he was healed. And then Sir Gaheris took his leave of King Mark, but before he departed, he said, Sir King, you did a foul shame to you and your court when you banished Sir Tristram out of this country, for you need not to have doubted of any knight that he had been here. And so he left. Halfway, well, over halfway, actually, over halfway through tonight's tale, ladies and gents, Sir Owain and Sir Gaheris have gone in search of Tristram and went looking for him in his home court of Cornwall. There Owain has decided to test out the theory that Cornish knights are worth nothing by challenging them all to fight. Those who would fight against him he defeated easily. And indeed, it was only when Sir Owain left that King Mark, full of black treachery, rode up behind him and smote him through the back with a spear, that Owain was defeated. A cowardly thing to do, but Sir Mark is a cowardly man, it seems. And had he not banished Sir Tristram from his country, then mayhaps he would have had a knight in his ranks who could have stood up to Sir Owain. Although I have to say, personally, I'm all for exiling the knight who slept with your wife. I'll be honest here, I don't think that King Mark getting rid of Tristram was necessarily a bad thing to do. I would have done worse in that situation, even though Tristram is the second best knight in all the world. Anyway, here we go. Rounding off tonight's tale. Then there came Sir Kay the Seneschal unto King Mark, and he had good cheer that was showed outward. Now, fair lord, said he, will you prove any adventure in the forest of Morris, in the way which I know well is a hard adventure as any I know? Sir, said Kay, I will prove it. And Sir Gaheris said that he would be advised, for King Mark was ever full of treason, and so Sir Kay should watch himself. And therewith Sir Gaheris departed and rode his way, and by the same way that Sir Kay should ride, he laid himself down to rest, charging his squire to wait upon Sir Kay and warn when he came. So within a while Sir Kay came riding that way, and then Sir Gaheris took his horse and met him and said, Sir Kay, you are not wise to ride at the request of King Mark, for he treats all with treason. Then, said Sir Kay, I require you, let us prove this adventure. Very well, I shall not fail you, said Sir Gaheris. And so they rode that time to a lake that was called the Perilous Lake, and there they abode under the shore of the wood. In the meanwhile, King Mark within the castle of Tintagel avoided all his barons, and all others save such as were privy with him avoided out of his chamber. Then he let call his nephew Sir Andred, and bade arm him and his horse lightly. And by that time it was midnight, and so King Mark was armed in black, horse and all. And at a privy postern those two issued out with their varlets with them, and rode till they came to that lake. Then Sir Kay saw them first, and got his spear, and offered to joust. And King Mark rode against them, smote each other full hard, for the moon shone as the bright day. And there, at the jousts, Sir Kay's horse fell down, for his horse was not so big as the king's horse, and Sir Kay's horse bruised him fully sore. Then Sir Gaheris was angry that Sir Kay had a fall, and he cried, "Knight, sit fast in thy saddle, for I will revenge my fellow." Then King Mark was afeard of Sir Gaheris, and so with evil will King Mark rode against him, and Sir Gaheris gave him such a stroke that he fell down too. And so then forthwith Sir Gaheris ran to Sir Andred, and smote him from his horse quite, that his helm smote nigh to the earth, and nigh broke his neck. Therewith Sir Gaheris alit, and got up Sir Kay. And then they both went on foot to them, and bade them to yield and say their names, or else they should die. Then, with great pain, Sir Andred spoke first, and said, "It is King Mark of Cornwall. Therefore you should be aware, as you do, that I am Sir Andred, his cousin." "Fie on you both," said Sir Gaheris, "for a false traitor and false treason have you wrought, and he both under the feigned cheer that you made us." "It were pity," said Sir Gaheris, "that you should live any longer." "Save my life," said King Mark, "and I will make amends for this, and consider I am already a king, and anointed." "So it's more the shame," said Sir Gaheris, "to save your life. You are a king anointed with Christendom, and therefore you should hold with all men of worship, and therefore you're worthy to die." And with that he lashed at King Mark without saying any more, and covered him with his shield, and defended him as he might. Then Sir Kay lashed at Sir Andred, and therewith King Mark yielded to Sir Gaheris again, and knelt down, and made his oath upon the cross of the sword, that never while he lived would he be against errant knights. And also he swore to be a good friend unto Sir Tristram, if ever he came into Cornwall. By then Sir Andred was on the earth, and Sir Kay would have slain him. "Let be," said Sir Gaheris, "slay him not, I pray you." "It was pity," said Sir Kay, "that he should live any longer, for this is nigh cousin unto Sir Tristram, and ever he has been a traitor to him, and by him he was exiled out of Cornwall, and therefore I will slay him," said Sir Kay. "You shall not," said Sir Gaheris. "Since I have given the king his life, I pray that you shall as well." And therewith Sir Kay let him go. And so Sir Kay and Sir Gaheris rode their way unto Dinas the Seneschal, for by cause they heard say that he loved well Sir Tristram. And they reposed themselves there, and afterwards they rode to the realm of Logres. And so within a while they met with Sir Lancelot, who always had Dame Bragwaine with him, to the intent that he believed he would meet sooner or later with Sir Tristram. And Sir Lancelot asked what tidings in Cornwall had been, and whether they had heard of Sir Tristram or not. Sir Kay and Gaheris said that they had not heard of him, and then they told Lancelot the word by word of their adventure. Sir Lancelot smiled and said, "Hard it is to take out of the flesh that is bred in the bone," and so made them merry together. There we have it, ladies and gents. Up until this moment in the telling of the tale, King Mark has been perhaps a thorn in the side of Tristram, a block in the way of love. But tonight we begin to see King Mark's treachery growing. King Mark desperate to take advantage of knights, to fight against them, to bloody them, to assault them, and to show them no kindness or comfort within his realm. Tomorrow we'll see just what happens when Sir Tristram is delivered from prison. Rescue is on its way, ladies and gents. Don't forget, and come back tomorrow night as we go and rescue that valiant knight, Sir Tristram. Now, coming up on Poetry Live tonight, I thought we'd go and lighten the tone for once. We've done some heavy love stuff recently, and I think that tonight we'll go and do some Edward Lear. Now, comments have disappeared once again from the chat, so I do apologise for not grabbing your comments, but big thanks. Thank you, Marissa, and thank you, Karen and Darby and Taz and Danny, for coming through and watching the show tonight. It's great to have you here. I'm now going to close this down and open up Poetry Live, and we'll go from there. So I'll see you there for Edward Lear and some very, very fun poems.